makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab.
You know we need those strategies. If we're living, and we are.
Last I checked.
Yeah, we need those strategies for a living. So are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab? Here we are on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. I'm Dr. David McMillan, and she is psychotherapist PLPC Lauren Leon McMillan. You know, Lauren, I feel the shift.
Do you feel the shift? Have you felt it?
I feel the shift. I really do. You know,
I feel it majorly. I think I'm pretty sensitive.
Well, this kind of happens to me with the change of the seasons, and you know, and I can kind of count on it, especially when when fall begins the turning into winter.
When we finally get our little cold peeking
through. and I feel it again, winter to spring. And I don't think I'm alone, but you know, I really do feel the shift.
Yeah.
And
major.
My body is more susceptible to, I even hesitate to call them colds because they're not really colds.
No, but all of the changes in our environment, both externally and indoors, because we turn on the dry heat.
Yep.
Right, and we're more indoors. We're not exposed to sun. All of those things make changes to our immune system's ability to function naturally.
Yep.
So yeah, it does actually make you a little more susceptible. That's why people tend to say, "Oh, it's just the season for colds and flu and all of that." Well,
so why don't we talk a little bit this evening about winter wellness? How we can stay happy and healthy going into these colder months now, you know.
Because a lot of people with the lack of sun also experience a lot of mental
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The
instability.
shift does things to us both physically and emotionally. So we'll talk about that this evening here on Strategies for Living. Folks, thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us. And we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX, and the Balanced Life Wellness Center, and Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage. Back in a moment, we're going to talk winter wellness and staying healthy and happy during the colder months. Talking about it today, right here on Strategies for Living. Don't go away.
Snowflakes falling all around, joyful hearts where love is found. Tune in now and take a seat. Strategies for life complete. Light the fire and gather near. Healthy mind and all that's dear. Body, spirit, relationships. Warm advice on wintry tips. Winter's bright glow brings us cheer.
Well, that kind of falls together,
that
right?
slid right in.
Yeah.
I made that one last night.
Obviously, you were anticipating what we were going to talk about today.
I didn't even know consciously.
Yeah,
somebody in there was.
Somebody was active.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan David McMillan. And I don't know, how many people are like me, but I definitely am feeling that shift
I
from
do.
from summer to fall to winter. I guess now technically it's the I'm feeling the fall to Are we officially in winter?
We are not technically in meteorological winter until the solstice.
Okay, so
However, so technically right now we are in late autumn,
yep.
but our bodies are responding to the increasing
Yeah, it's not like
darkness.
flipping a switch. It goes on a spectrum. So it
hmm
goes, our bodies
It's
respond.
always been interesting to me that as soon as winter meteorologically starts, the days actually begin to come back.
Yeah,
Like in terms of the amount of light we get, it
right.
begins to increase. So actually, we are entering the darkest part of the year.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
the winter solstice, which is actually the 22nd
I
of
think
December,
it's the 21st this
21st.
year.
Okay.
I mean, it varies from year to year based on when we get the shortest day
But that winter
at the
solstice
equator.
is the shortest day of the year,
Right.
right?
The
In terms of its
hours of daylight.
hours of daylight, we've
Right.
got the least amount of darkness, light rather, least amount of light that we're going to have all year long,
On the
right?
solstice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to focus in on how do we stay healthy? How do we stay happy during these colder months?
hmm
One of the things, and you mentioned, the immune system. So let's begin by talking physical wellness.
Okay.
And I don't know that we emphasize and talk collectively enough about the immune system.
No, I
Um,
would agree with you.
because it's a miracle. We have on board, we have this system within us that if we could just see, if we could somehow see all of the pathogens, all of the germs, all of the bacteria, all the
Viruses.
the viruses, all the stuff
Yeah.
around us.
Yeah.
If we could perceive it, and obviously we can't because we don't walk around with a microscope. And even if we did walk around with a microscope, a lot of this stuff is so minute
Well,
that a regular microscope couldn't pick it
not
up.
only that, but it's integrated into our very being. Like
Right.
we're all carrying it all the time.
Right. But my point is that our immune system
Mhm.
doesn't worry about it. For the most part, it just handles it.
Right.
I'll never forget many years ago, I was interviewing
Mhm.
on the program here, I was interviewing a renowned cancer doctor, and he had written a book about dealing with cancer, he and his wife.
Right.
His wife was a social worker. And he was answering, he was a very smart guy, and he was answering a question, and he just as an aside, he said, "We all have cancer."
hmm
And and I let him finish answering the question, and I came back and I said, "Doc, I think I must have misheard you. You said, I think I heard you say we all have cancer." He said, "Yeah, if you define cancer as
Mhm.
cancerous cells in our body," he said, 100% of us have cancerous cells in our body. But he said, for the majority of us, our immune system just routinely handles it.
Right.
He says what we diagnose, what is diagnosed as quote unquote cancer is when the cancer cells within our body are overrun they overrun our immune system. So our
It's
immune
out of
system
balance and it
can't keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that underscored for me, that conversation, underscored for me the importance of learning everything we can about this phenomenal, miraculous system
That's with it.
that's within
inbuilt.
all of
Yeah.
us. Yeah, that's built in.
Mhm.
And we, of course, we want to eat right, and we learn this back in school,
Right.
But I don't know that may be getting harder and harder to do because it's
It is.
a nutrient-rich diet, and certainly one that contains enough of all the vitamins, especially vitamin C.
Hmm.
is extremely important. You know, to maintain
I would say
our immune system.
at this point in the season, in the year, C and D
Yeah.
are very important because we're not being as exposed to the sun as we are.
Right. Shorter days, shorter amounts of sunlight.
Even if you do work outside, you are actually getting less hours of sun than you usually would.
So
And
even
so
if you don't supplement all year long, you may want to may want to consider supplementing
Mhm.
with D vitamins. During the winter months,
Right.
and
Not just for your immune system, but also for your mental health and your emotional health, because we know that D also helps with the
absolutely.
symptoms of
And let
seasonal
me
affective.
say this, and I say this with all respect to I think the what we have available to us going to our health food stores and our vitamins. We can go to the shelf. I love going to Vitamins Plus
Mhm.
within Drug Emporium or any
Yes.
health food store, and I'll
Sunshine.
hang around. I love to go down the aisles and look at all of the different vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are available to us. Having said that, the very best source of that is the food we eat.
Yes.
So if we can
Absolutely.
research, where do we get natural C? Where do we get natural
Citrus
vitamin D?
fruits, yeah.
Yeah.
So another interesting point here, seasonally, right, is as we shift into the cold, um, our appetite is actually likely to increase because our body is needing and requiring more energy to keep us warm and to keep us functioning
Right.
at the same level.
Right.
And so we might find ourselves wanting to eat more, but I think it's important that when we recognize that, we try to eat more nutrient dense if we can,
Yeah.
especially during the season. And, some people have these, there are studies out there about seasonal eating patterns that our body actually needs different nutrients throughout the year based on the season, right? And our exposure to different elements and the light,
Right.
right?
Right. And as you're talking, I'm just grabbing the bottle of water between us.
Which, by the way, I have dosed with.
You've dosed with extra electrolytes.
That's it, electrolytes.
And why is that important?
Well, electrolytes keep us. I mean, they by definition, right, are molecules that conduct electricity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our bodies are electromagnetic, right?
Absolutely right. And so even if we're drinking water all the time, which I have a habit of doing, if we don't have the electrolytes to help pull the water into our cells, I mean, that's part of their job is the electrolytes pull the water into the cells. They're like little carriers.
Right.
And so if you're just drinking water, plain water, it has the tendency to just flush through you. Whereas if you add the electrolytes, they're more likely to get into the cells and do what they're meant to do.
You mentioned our heating systems a few minutes ago. One of the things that we may not be aware of as as our heating systems kick on and are more active during the cold months, it kind of zaps the hydration from us.
Dehydration is a bigger problem.
Right. So, you may want to, figure out ways to drink more. And the best thing you can do is pure water. Is pure water, and there's all kinds of we
another interesting addition to the idea that we're inside in the dry heat that zaps out the water is there's also something called cold induced diuresis. Okay, which simply means that the body tends to produce more urine in cold weather.
Okay.
So we've got like a triple whammy on us.
I've kind of noticed that, but I just thought it was because I was old.
No, I mean there is a seasonal shift.
Yeah. Kind of noticed that.
Well, and that's in response to higher blood pressure.
That may
we need
that may be a bit too much information to share with listeners. Maybe nobody wants to know that. We're indoors, and it's also more of a challenge to stay active indoors. I mean, we're going to be inside more, and there's my easy chair, right?
Right.
So I just have this, okay, well, it's just so easy. But we may want to think about, well, what can we do? What could I do even in my easy chair to stay more active? Maybe
Mm.
some resistance training, maybe even yoga.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chair yoga.
Yeah. And, and of course, outdoor activities in the winter, taking a brisk walk or hiking or out getting the fresh air
Mhm.
as you can. You may not want to stay out there for long periods of
And make
time
sure you're
like you do in the
appropriately
spring or
dressed,
summer.
right?
Yeah. Make sure that you're protected, but, getting what you can and, a brisk walk might be better for you than anything else.
Mm.
We got to take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about, because this is, cold and flu season. It's more active. I want to talk a little bit about that, and then shift into our mental care
Yes. That'll
during
be very
these
important.
winter months. Can we do that?
Sounds good.
We're talking about today on Strategies for Living. We're talking about the winter wellness and the importance of taking care of ourselves, body, mind, and spirit.
Mm.
We'll be back and continue our discussion right here on Strategies. Stay with us. Hey, let's talk about the Robinson Film Center. I say it a lot. There's no place like the Robinson.
Absolutely, there is not.
617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. You've got so much. You got the movies. You got Abby Singer's Bistro on the second floor of RFC, open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Saturday.
Newly remodeled.
Absolutely. Great menu. RobinsonFilmCenter.org is the way you check it all out. You can go to RobinsonFilmCenter.org at any time and find out what movies are showing. Here's the deal. You want to join the crowd, join the fun, become a member. When you become a member, you become a star. You get discounts on movies, you get concession upgrades, you get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. I'll say it again. There's no place like the Robinson.
There is not, and I'm glad we have one right here.
Absolutely. The RobinsonFilmCenter.org.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donisa Walker with Learning RX Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, Learning RX Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call Learning RX Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does Learning RX Shreveport.
Tune in for a dose of good cheer. Lauren and David are here. Strategies for living is the show. Healthy mind and spirit we know. Jingle bells ring bright, guiding you through the night. With wisdom and delight, tune in and feel the light. Radio rehab with a smile. Your troubles fade for a while. Body and
I feel
mind in
better
harmony.
already.
Good.
Yeah.
I guess we're done. See you later.
There you go. Welcome, folks. Welcome back into 1017 FM 710 Keel. And Strategies for Living with a little jingle along the way. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, and we're talking about the importance today of winter wellness.
I think
And,
it's a very important topic because I think in this world, where we go, we don't stop.
Yeah.
We can really forget to honor the natural cycles of life, not just in nature, but within ourselves because we are nature, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I've always found it kind of jarring personally that towards the end of the year when, at this time of the year, when my body naturally wants to slow down,
Yep.
a lot of the chaos, if you will, of the holidays stirs up and says, "You gotta go, you gotta
You got to
go,
go.
you
You
gotta
got to
go get
move. You got to
this,
go.
you
You got
gotta
to go
go
do
here."
this. You got to take care of this. You
Right,
got list to accomplish.
right.
know?
It's almost like we're
Yeah.
trying to go counter to our
Our
natural
natural
needs.
rhythm. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think our ego self does that a lot and
yeah.
presents a lot of that to us. And, I would just say, as we get into the mental part of this,
Mm-hmm.
give yourself permission to say no
Mm-hmm.
to things that you need to say no to. It's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Give yourself that permission. Before we get totally through with the physical part of this, Lauren,
Mm-hmm.
though, we mentioned this is cold and flu season. And of course, everybody's got to decide what you want to do. There are the flu vaccines
Right.
that are available to us. Everybody needs to decide, how they're going to handle that. There's also the for some people that are more vulnerable, the RSV vaccines are out there. Of course, the COVID vaccines continue to be out and available. So everybody's got to decide,
Yeah, what's best for
what's
my
best
body.
for you.
Mhm.
And you know your body better than anybody else. And I would encourage, everyone listening to talk to their family physician
Mhm.
about this. Consult your family physician and, have a conversation with him or her, and then make a personal choice, make a personal decision for you.
Yeah.
Now, think also during this time, and this may seem, well, that's, of course, we want to be mindful of things like hand washing. But, sometimes, I don't think I'm conscious, as conscious as I need to be
Mm.
about, hand washing.
Well,
And
it's always worth bringing back the mundane little things up to your conscious awareness just as a reminder because they slip under the cracks as a daily,
it's so important. And, of course it's important to wash your hands before you eat.
Mhm.
And think about what happens. Your hands get closer to your face.
Mm.
So if you haven't washed your hands, whatever germs you've picked up that are there are coming closer to your mouth and nose,
Yes,
right?
right.
And can come in.
We had to watch a video every year at school. I don't know what it was called at all, but we had around this time of year, actually, we had to watch it. A person sneezed on their hand,
Yep.
and the little germs are animated, and they sing a little song when they multiply. So,
Okay.
the person sneezes on their hand,
And
and
the little
they start
germs
singing because
sing,
they're
yeah.
multiplying, and
Yeah.
they get on the doorknob, and then anyway,
There they
I
go.
always think about that. It worked.
So, and maybe that made you more conscious
did.
during that time of not only washing your hands, but also how much you inadvertently maybe touch your face,
Mhm. Yep.
even in between when we eat, because at the unconscious level, we do that, we may stroke our chin, or, we may put our hand in front of our face and not think anything about it,
Right.
and not relate that, okay, well, how much am I taking in? How
Mm.
much of the nasty stuff am I taking in there?
Right.
So, again, there's a lot that you can do. There's a lot available to you, but I would challenge all of us to increase our awareness
Mm.
of keeping our immune system healthy, and what other preventative measures that we can, do, that
Mhm.
we can learn about. There's that's the wonderful information time that we live in.
Right.
There's a lot of available help.
Mm.
Shifting into the mental
Okay.
part of
Yep.
this. Some people really have an issue
Mhm.
during during this period of lower light.
Yes.
And they have a problem with something called SAD.
Yes.
SAD. seasonal affective disorder.
Mhm.
What is that?
So it actually is. It's a feeling of sadness, right? Actually, it's kind of true to what it says,
Right.
sad.
Right?
But it's due to, as you said, reduced sunlight exposure. But because that lowers your serotonin levels,
Mm. Okay.
and so which is one of the main happy chemicals that we have,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so if you're not producing as much serotonin as you're used to, you may feel a little lower.
Right.
And some people are more affected than others. Another hormone that I think probably contributes to this is melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as we're getting less light, our bodies are naturally going to produce more melatonin because melatonin is produced light dependently produced.
Right.
When it gets dark, we produce melatonin
Now,
naturally.
there's a lot of things that we can do. Again, vitamin D is important here.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you have a propensity towards seasonal affective disorder, there's something as simple as, full, a type of light
Yes.
that you can actually buy. It's full spectrum lighting
Yes.
is what it is. And I think it's, you can certainly order them online. You can order them on, at Amazon or HomeDepot.com or Lowe's.com, and likely they have them in the store too. I'm not 100% sure about that. But full spectrum lighting, and you can get a full spectrum light bulb and substitute it as a bulb in, let's say,
A regular
a
lamp.
regular lamp that you use routinely for reading. So you're taking and substituting a full spectrum light bulb into that, and as you're reading or you're doing something that's healthy for your mind like that, you're also doing something healthy for your body and getting the full spectrum lighting. The bulbs are a little more expensive
Sure.
than the normal light bulbs,
Mhm.
but they're certainly worth it
Yeah.
to supplement light into full spectrum light, like the light we get from the sun.
Yeah.
It's not 100%.
It's not gonna be the same.
Not going to
No.
be 100% the same, but it'll be better than the normal light bulbs that we sit under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also recommend any other type of serotonin boosting activity, and that would be exercise, making sure you get enough sleep, and what you eat too.
Right.
Eating really nutrient dense things that contain, I guess in particular, tryptophan,
Yep.
right? Because that would be on the line to producing serotonin, but also vitamin B6 helps in that
Right.
production of serotonin, and complex carbs,
Okay.
not simple carbs.
I think it's also important to manage your connections, your social connections. During the holiday season, some of us get worn out by going here and going there, and
I
that's
think we also have a tendency to isolate during the winter.
some of
um,
us do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, one, because it's a natural tendency, but also because it's colder and maybe we're not wanting to get out as much
Right.
anymore, right?
So I mean, be aware of the risk of isolation.
Well, the good
And
news is we've got a lot of technology now to help with that in
yes,
terms of being able to call or to video chat.
we can connect by Zoom or
Right.
some other means like that, where you can actually see one another,
Hmm.
talk to one another, see one another, stay more connected with one another, friends and family members alike.
And of
Yeah.
course, at this time of year, if you are able to get out, there's definitely going to be a lot more volunteering and community service type events available for you to, really reach out and feel more connected.
Absolutely. And don't forget the importance of self-care. Things like meditation, centering prayer, any kind of mindfulness practice like that.
Hmm.
Also journaling.
Hmm.
And this could be as easy. I know we sound like a broken record sometimes, but uh, gratitude, keeping a gratitude journal. Yeah.
Yeah, then you're doing double duty there. You're doing gratitude and journaling.
Right. And again, the challenge during this time of year is there is for most of us lots more stuff to juggle. So, take care of yourself. Give yourself breaks from holiday stress by, you know, adding in some calming activities. You know, a good Epsom salt bath for
Yes.
yourself, or going and getting yourself from the library or from Barnes and Noble a good book.
Or if you've got a
And
fireplace, sitting and starting and watching the fire.
yeah, or maybe you've got some other
Or a
hobby.
bonfire outside.
There you go.
Or a hobby. Yes.
There you go. We're talking about how do we maintain winter wellness, staying happy and healthy during the colder months that we have entered into. Talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back.
From the bayou to your table, we're keeping it alive with flavors from the family, passed down to survive. The Godfather's here with a twist in the tail. Alligator Italian sausage, and it sure won't fail. It's the boss of the bayou, a taste you can't refuse. Italian tradition, Cajun infused. Godfather sausage, bold and true. The Padres bringing the bayou to you.
Get the Godfather Alligator Italian Sausage only at Fertitta's Delicatessen, 1124 Fairfield Avenue in Shreveport. Pick up a muffy while you're there. The Godfather Alligator Italian Sausage. It's a taste you can't refuse. Sold only at Fertitta's, 1124 Fairfield Avenue in Shreveport. Dealing with stress, pain, feel like you're running out of options? When your life is balanced, wellness is a given. True wellness is holistic. It's about the mind, the body, and the spirit, all in balance. Now, there's a place right here in Shreveport that's all about helping us achieve peak mental, emotional, and physical health. The Balanced Life, 117 Kings Highway, right next door to Strawn's. Come see and feel the difference getting your life in balance can be. Many of your friends and neighbors have already learned the difference less stress and pain mean in their lives. You can book a discovery session right now online, thebalancedlife.us. All you've got to lose is stress, pain, or maybe both. Come see and feel for yourself the real difference balanced wellness makes. The Balanced Life Wellness Center, 117 Kings Highway in Shreveport, next door to Strawn's, thebalancedlife.us. Oh, yes, we do need them, and here we are. Thank you for being here with us on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan on Strategies for Living, and we're talking winter wellness today, and just being more aware of as we make this transition from warmer weather into colder weather. How do we take care of ourselves during this shorter period of light that we all have? Sleep.
Oh,
Can we overemphasize? Is it possible to overemphasize the importance of good sleep hygiene,
no.
Lauren?
No, and especially not in the winter, because the extended darkness can actually influence our circadian rhythms,
Yeah.
right? So we actually in the winter and during this season, we might have longer sleep cycles, which will actually change our overall sleep patterns.
You know, you and I kind of do this all year with the, you know, uh, because we both like to kind of sleep in the colder. So a lot of people, get the blankets out
Yeah.
during the winter months. We kind of keep them out all year long,
Yeah.
but we find ourselves using them more
Oh,
during
I
the
broke out.
winter
I broke
months.
out the heavier one
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed that. I noticed that. But but we also want to be mindful of good sleep hygiene. Things like limiting the screen time
Mm.
before we go to bed, stopping caffeine. If you any kind of caffeine use, a lot of people, need to
So
stop that like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
yeah,
or
because
or
the actual average is like it stays in your body for 8 hours on
right,
average. Now,
right,
for males and females and your age and activity level, that's all going to vary. And I think we're most of us are in tune enough to know for ourselves when we need to cut it off. Some people need to cut it off early. Some people, my grandfather could drink coffee, up until 30 minutes before bed and he was
right,
fine.
right.
So,
And I think also a consistent bedtime routine
yes.
is extremely important. Trying to, and during this season, there may be times where your routine has to be broken, but as much as possible, stay in that consistent bedtime routine.
Yeah,
Right?
and I would actually urge people, if you can, really listen to your body because it may want to. I mean, I've noticed this in me, and I think I've noticed it in you as well because you follow suit, that we've actually wanted to go to bed earlier
Yeah, yeah,
with the sun.
yeah,
And so to allow yourself to do that and then keep that consistent rhythm, because your body knows what it needs, and so
absolutely.
you listen to it and support it in the
Listen
best
to
way
your
that you can.
listen to your body and try to respond to it
And
as
to
much
have
as you can.
patience with yourself, knowing that with the growing darkness, you may need, well, growing darkness and the cold, because your body is using more energy and not getting as much light. That combination of things, you're likely to need more sleep than the rest of the year.
Yeah. We promised body, and we've talked about body. We promised mind. We've talked about mind. But we also promised
Mm,
soul. So let's
absolutely.
talk about emotional and spiritual
Let's do it.
wellness too. I mean, I think this is an easy thing to get involved in if we'll just embrace it. And there are certain winter activities.
Hmm.
Uh, we were driving home from the office, and I happened to look to my left, and there was a lady at the tip top of her roof.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I wanted to roll the window down and say, "Get down from there." That was my inclination. But I realized she was up,
Yeah, decorating, putting up the
decorating,
lights.
and I'm sure that's a wonderful activity. That's not something that I've ever liked to do, to climb on top of my roof, but thankfully we have a
I'll do
good
it.
friend. We have you, and we have a good friend
Yeah.
of ours who loves to get on the roof, so that
Up on
works
the
out for
roof.
me. But also, you love to stargaze,
Yes.
and that's that you can do a lot of that during the winter
Yeah,
months.
well, because the skies are more likely to be clearer, and when it's cold and clear, you can see the stars
Yeah,
a little clearer.
yeah,
And so I think all of these that you mentioned are about ways to find joy
yeah.
in the winter, right?
And
Because,
and let's not forget about baking.
oh, yes, of
Let's not
course.
forget about baking during
No.
the winter. That's just a natural time. How about some sugar cookies?
Uh-huh.
How about some muffins? You made some.
Remember, we're in balance here. We're
Oh,
also trying to support your immune system through the
oh,
winter as
okay.
well.
But you made some great muffins
I did.
for
I made some.
Thanksgiving.
That's actually brings up a good point. I made gingerbread muffins,
Yeah,
and ginger is a great has great anti-inflammatory and warming properties,
and
which
you
are great for the winter
you didn't use
season.
sugar. You used a natural.
No, I like to use dates.
Yeah, you used
Dates and date syrup.
yeah
That's
date
kind of my
syrup
go-to.
as your sweetener,
Yeah.
and they were delicious. They were absolutely delicious. Um, Now, let's, during this season, of course, there are some people who keep Advent wreaths or
Yes.
Hanukkah,
Candelabras.
So there may be rituals that you do to celebrate winter traditions.
Well, and that also connects with the season's light and darkness,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Those themes of bringing the light into the darkest nights of the month,
So
the
think
year, rather.
think about that as you do these kind of rituals of bringing light inside, bringing the external light internally.
Yeah.
Because I really think that a lot of, when we read, for instance, the Christian birth stories of Jesus, which you'll find in the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Luke.
Right.
And they really are two separate stories. We kind of shove them together and make a Christmas card theology, if you will. But have you ever read the two stories and contemplated that they have different things that they highlight
Yeah.
about the Christ coming into the world?
The light coming into the
the
world.
light
yeah.
breaking into the world. And those are only in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. Mark doesn't have an infancy narrative, and John doesn't have an infancy narrative. So, might be a special time to read that for yourself.
Yeah.
Or watch a Charlie Brown Christmas, and Linus will read it to you.
That'll bring you joy too.
That'll bring joy, absolutely. So, I hope that what we've begun to accomplish is, maybe a stretching for all of us, or more conscious awareness of moving from one season into another season.
Mm-hmm.
This too shall pass, but it lasts for a little while.
Right. So
Yeah.
how can we move into it and through it?
I'm feeling the shifts, and so I hope this helps me be more mindful of what's actually going on inside that reflects what might be happening outside.
Yeah.
We'll be back here on Strategies. Stay with us. You're going to see the difference. When you go to Azalea Cleaners, you'll hear about it too. Azalea Cleaners has been fine dry cleaning since 1958, plus laundry, alterations and repairs, comforters, wedding gown cleaning and restoration. You'll hear about it from your friends because they'll see it too. They'll notice the Azalea difference. Azalea is convenient. 732 Azalea Drive, 9220 Ellerby Road, and 9227 Mansfield Road. Plus, the front door of your home or business with Azalea's delivery on demand. Just text SETUP to 249-8283, and Azalea will pick up your clothes and deliver them back clean and fresh to you. You can't get closer than that. That's the Azalea difference. You'll notice it right away. Others will too. The Azalea difference. Fine dry cleaning since 1958. Text SETUP to 249-8283 and get the Azalea difference. AzaleaCleaners.com.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We Strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
And welcome back into Strategies for a Living Radio here with Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Glad to be here with you. And how do you summarize what and take away from the stuff we've talked about today about winter wellness, Lauren?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's important that we recognize the changing, right? The changing in the external environment and therefore within us.
Yeah.
Because we do change in response to it, whether we're aware of it or not. So I would summarize it by first recognizing and being aware. And then secondly, by being compassionate with ourselves and with others as we move through this shift and adapting and integrating by, maybe altering, eating more seasonal foods and nutrient-dense foods, and taking care of our
Sugar cookies.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Not
a seasonal
exactly.
food.
I don't know about that.
Sugar cookies with that
Moderate
little
sugar intake because
with that
could
sprinkle. Got to be red and green sprinkles on the sugar cookies. That's really holiday. Isn't it?
very festive,
Yeah.
bringing your joy into the winter season.
You
right?
know, I got to mess with you
I
a
know.
little bit.
I know you do.
It's just
Part of your job.
folks. You could be entertained going through the grocery store. I put things in the buggy and Lauren takes them out. We could do a we could probably
do a skit.
we could probably do a whole reality TV program. Lauren and David go to the grocery store.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. Hand me that eggnog over there, would you? Folks, thank you. Thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living. We appreciate you being here with us. And we appreciate our sponsors making it possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Pintail Roofing
Roof.
and Learning RX and the Balanced Life Wellness Center and Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, Alligator, Italian Sausage. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? Why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.